Guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video we're going to be doing some more shorter term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, because in today's video, guys, I'm going to be a little bit contrarian actually. Based on the way Bitcoin has been moving here over the last several days, you might be expecting a bearish breakout on Bitcoin. Of course, we've been setting lower lows and lower highs. It's not all that far-fetched to be expecting Bitcoin to start heading lower, perhaps to price targets around $7,900 that we've discussed. But in today's video, I think that side of the case is relatively obvious, so I want to explore the bullish case, actually. Cue the permabull comments, but guys, I really do think there are some things here that you need to see, and there are some technicals that are suggesting that Bitcoin might be inbound for a bounce rather than a crash. I think you guys are going to enjoy today's video, so if you do, please consider dropping a like down below. It really helps out the channel when you do that. And by the way, guys, I do have an announcement. There will be a face reveal on Saturday. You guys are about to see what I look like in all of my ugliness. That is going to be happening with a new product launch that we've been working on for quite some time. I'm very excited about it. I think you guys are going to love it. So let's build some hype in the chat for that, as it were. And without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive on into these bullish technicals that I think you guys may be missing. The first thing we need to do is analyze this trend as it has been playing out here over the last several days. As you guys will know, Bitcoin bounced from around $7,400 all the way to $10,600, and from there we've been trading sideways and slightly to the downside. And that's really interesting because, as you guys will well know by now, the direction of the movement of Bitcoin following a major rally or crash will indicate the strength of the bulls or the bears. You might want to rewind that and watch me say that again, because that's really important. In fact, that's the entire point of this video right here, gauging the strength of the bulls and the bears. It's an 18-minute long video in CT2A. I just summed it up in one sentence for you. And it's very important, guys. It's very, very important that you understand who is stronger, the faction of the bulls or the faction of the bears, because when you understand which one is stronger, then you get a much clearer understanding of how easy it will be to break support and resistance, how easy it'll be to start and end rallies or crashes, and what future moves it might be a good idea to expect out of our favorite cryptocurrency here. And there's something really interesting here. Like I said, guys, Bitcoin rallied 45% and it started trading sideways for 2 weeks, and then now we're moving slightly to the downside. What that indicates to me is that the bulls and the bears are at a deadlock. They're relatively evenly strength, although the bears are slightly stronger at the moment. Normally, you will find that the bears are slightly stronger when there's not a whole lot going on in the market. There's not been a lot of crazy big news. There's not been a lot of technical fundamental changes in Bitcoin recently. Bitcoin's been relatively stagnant for the last couple of weeks here. So if you factor that into it and we readjust the declination of the chart here, then we should be looking at Bitcoin basically just trading sideways, and the bulls and the bears are relatively even. And the reason I bring this up is because even though Bitcoin is making consecutively lower lows here, notice they're not much farther below the previous one. We're looking at $8,700 here, $8,630, $8,611, and then $8,575. Those are some very similar lows over the span of a week. That is not a very strong bearish signal. That being said, when we make these lower lows like this and we factor in RSI on the hourly chart and the 4-hourly chart, then we start getting some very powerful bullish signals. Because in fact, as you can see, this entire video, we've had this support level drawn on the chart. Let's go ahead and change that to blue for support. We have an uptrending RSI. That's called RSI Divergence. That's a very important technical indicator. Another indicator that has its own video in CT2A because it's so important. RSI Divergence is very important, and don't you forget it. Because when the RSI and the chart disagree, then that normally means that the strength of the bulls or the bears that the chart is showing you is actually the opposite of what's really going on. What I mean by that is that if the chart is slightly bearish and you're having RSI divergence, what that actually means is that the chart is slightly bullish, and you would normally expect some kind of rally from there. Now, guys, one thing you can do to fact check RSI is see if it shows up on multiple time frames. And if we go out to the 4-hourly chart, we will find that, boom, not only does it show up on multiple time frames, it actually looks even better on the 4-hourly chart, which is a longer term chart, which actually fits the length of this movement much better than the 1-hourly chart. So this is amazing confirmation of that RSI divergence. But of course, guys, as you know, we don't want to go off of only one technical indicator here, so let's dive into a couple more. One thing I do want to mention is that the MACD on the daily chart has crossed bearish. That being said, it's crossed bearish in a very interesting place because Bitcoin has basically been trading sideways right now. It wouldn't take a whole lot, in my opinion, of bullish price action for Bitcoin to come and converge on itself. If Bitcoin started rallying again, we could be converging bullish on ourselves again within about 3 to 4 days. And that's actually a good thing that we cross bearish, because when we're this far diverged on the MACD, you can't really get a whole lot more diverged on the MACD. The MACD for the last 2.5 weeks has been resetting, which is a good thing. Like I said, so is the RSI. The RSI is down here lower, but we haven't really moved a whole lot lower in price action. We want these indicators and oscillators to reset so that they have room to go bullish and give us more technical confirmation of rallies moving on into the future. And that's what we're seeing now, is that the MACD is moving back down towards the 0 level. The lower this goes, the easier it's going to be for it to cross bullish in the future and give us confirmation of a new rally. So I'm very happy about that. We saw something like that happen over here where Bitcoin jumped off a cliff, and then it was very easy for us to have a bullish MACD cross, and all the while we were trading sideways and even slightly bearish, Bitcoin was bullish on the MACD, and that's probably part of what exploded the market back on October 25th. So keep an eye out for that. That's relatively important as well. One more thing to look at, guys. Bitcoin is not just sitting here in midair anymore. It's actually sitting above some very important levels of support. As you can see, if we bring out our Fibonacci, guys, Bitcoin is sitting above the 61.8% Fibonacci level, which is hovering around $8,537 right there. And if you guys aren't familiar with Fibonacci, guess what? There's also a video on Fibonacci in CT2 because we cover basically everything in this course. In the Fibonacci video, we go over why 61.8% is so important. It is the inverse of phi. Phi is 1.618, etc. It's an irrational number. 0.618 is flipped over the pivot point that is 1 and becomes a very important number in Fibonacci retracement as well. The 61.8% Fibonacci level is hands down the most important Fibonacci level. I'd say the 38.2% is the second most important, and actually, even though 0.5 is not technically a Fibonacci number unless you calculate using 1 and 2, which is not the way you're supposed to do it, it is probably the third most important Fibonacci level because everybody's using this Fibonacci tool that does include 0.5. But nevertheless, the 61.8% is very important, and Bitcoin is sitting right above it. Like I said, Bitcoin is not just hovering in midair here. It does have support below it. And it's not only Fibonacci either. We're also looking at the 200 exponential moving average on the daily chart. Bitcoin has been hovering above this for quite some time, and this moving average has basically been trading perfectly sideways for the last 3 months. Bitcoin is slightly below it right now, but you know what? If there's just like a 0.5% move below a moving average, I'm gonna still call that being supported by it. We haven't really broken bearish out of that. If we measure this, guys, we're only a little over 0.5% below that moving average, so I'm not really gonna call that a breakout. We don't have any volume to be calling for a breakout either, so I'm still saying Bitcoin's getting supported there as well. Furthermore, guys, because there is actually a pretty strong bullish case if you start looking into it, Bitcoin's got some relatively strong VPVR support. As you guys can see, Bitcoin is sitting above a pretty big chunk of VPVR support that was built up back over here in May and June, and then also support that was built up back over here in October. That should not be written off because that is very important, guys. We're looking for support here. Bitcoin, I think, wants to go bullish. We've kind of set a bottom for this market, I believe. I think down here may have been a bottom. It's hard to tell at this point in history, but there's a very good chance that it is. And if it is, then Bitcoin's going to be looking for bottoms and be looking to head to the upside. And we do have a lot of support below us. So I think there's a strong case for that. And by the way, guys, it's not just the 200 daily exponential moving average. The 50 daily simple moving average is actually giving us perfect support. I mean, look at this. This is actually really cool. It's come down here and we've tested it several times, and it even curved up a little bit to catch us this time because we've been so bullish over the last 2 weeks compared to what we were the 2 weeks previous. So guys, what's the moral of the story? What's the takeaway here? The takeaway is that even though Bitcoin has been making consecutively lower lows over the last several days, that's not always actually a bearish signal, because if we were looking for a major bearish breakout, one, wouldn't this have done it? I mean, Bitcoin had a lot of volume right here. Bitcoin had a big old volume climax. It could have easily crashed Bitcoin down to like 6 grand if that's what the market really wanted to do. If the bears were really that strong, it probably would have done it over here. Furthermore, when Bitcoin was crashing right here, don't you think it would have done the same thing? Or here, or here. At this point, shouldn't Bitcoin have already had a major crash? If it was going to break below those levels of support, don't you think it would have? Now, you have to be careful with that thinking, because sometimes the market will throw you curveballs. Sometimes the market isn't very rational. It is possible that Bitcoin breaks that support and we head down to $8,000 or slightly below it. But that being said, the bears don't look very strong right now. Based on all the technical analysis we're doing, they look maybe a little stronger than the bulls, but not a whole lot. And what that means is that they don't have the strength to really start making major market moves. Maybe we've pulled down to $8,000, that snowballs from there. That's maybe the worst case scenario. But for the time being, guys, I'm kind of on the edge of my seat waiting to see what happens here. I think the bulls have a bigger chance than some people are giving them credit for. And I also think that Bitcoin has really started to move in the right direction in the last couple of months, as it has to do with technicals and fundamentals on the long-term charts and on the short-term, to be honest. The future for Bitcoin is always looking bright. I've never wavered on that, guys. The second birthday of this channel is in 2 days. We've uploaded 700 videos since then. That is insane. It's been one hell of a journey, guys. I normally don't curse on the channel, but you know, it really has been. I remember when we hit 10,000 subscribers. I remember when we hit 20,000 subscribers, 25,000. Now we just hit 28,000 subscribers. 2 years, several 100,000 unique viewers later, 3 million views later, 42 years of watch time later, guys. and things are only looking up here on the channel, and things are only looking up here on Bitcoin. Guys, I want to wrap the video out with 2 points. One, no matter what Bitcoin does in the short term, I like reminding you guys of this. It doesn't matter what Bitcoin does in the short term because the long term is fine. There's an opportunity in every movement, being bullish or bearish. You can short and you can long. You can put stop losses above a short and below a long position to cover yourself. You can do everything in both directions. The only thing that sucks is when you're trading sideways like we have been recently. Please don't get discouraged by the market. Because let me tell you guys something, over the last 6 months, I've really kind of been living the dream that I had for a very long time. And after I do a face reveal, you guys are going to get to know me a little bit better. I'll open up a little more. And it wasn't without hard work. This channel took 8 months to get monetized, and I wasn't ever really doing it for the money, but I did put a lot of time into it, and it was a factor. We started the channel November 16th, 2017. It feels like yesterday. That was 2 years ago. From there, we uploaded a video every single day. I remember one day I was uploading maybe 2 or 3 videos a week, and something clicked in my head, and I just said, you know what? If I want to do this, I have to go full out. I have to do a video every single day. And then a couple days later, I uploaded a Litecoin price prediction video that got 16,000 views and kick-started the channel. We made videos every single day for 8 months with no monetary return. Because guess what, guys? I wasn't doing this for the money in the long run. And in the long run, you shouldn't be doing Bitcoin for money. People don't go into entrepreneurship for money. People think that entrepreneurs make a lot of money and don't spend a lot of time. It's the opposite. Most entrepreneurs spend a lot of time and don't make a lot of money. The reason they do it is because of the freedom that it provides. The reason that they do it is because they love what they're doing. The reason that they do it is because it enriches their lives. And you guys have to realize something. Bitcoin is not just about being rich. There's a lot of money to be made in Bitcoin, but it's also about the time freedom, the location freedom, not having a boss who can tell you what to do, being able to work from anywhere on planet Earth, being able to live the dream how you want to without being restricted in the ways that most people in this world unfortunately are. So the takeaway from this video is that yes, Bitcoin does actually have more bullish technical indicators than I think some people are realizing. Does it really matter if Bitcoin blows up tomorrow? No, it actually doesn't. There are a lot of people who go to football games and they're not there for the sports. They're there for the culture around it. And that's one of the big reasons that a lot of people are in cryptocurrency as well, is because of the amazing culture around it. If you want to join part of our culture, the Discord server link is down below. But guys, to wrap the video out, I really just want to come at you very humbly from the bottom of my heart over the last 2 years. This has been a long journey. It's been a hard journey. Some very bad things have happened behind the scenes that you guys never knew about because I'm great at putting a poker face on for you. But let me tell you something, I wouldn't have changed any of it. These have been the best 2 years of my life, and it's thanks to you who's watching this video right now. So without getting too mushy on you, I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching and following me on this journey. As always, if you did watch to the end of the video, post the name of a bird down below to see how many people watched all the way. And I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.